at the table, our guest is Andrea Feeney, a proud Sligo native, a home economics teacher by profession, a mum of 4. Andrea is also the heartbeat behind Boston Bakeology, and she's also the J1 coordinator at the Irish Pastoral Centre, where she helps young Irish students find their footing here in Boston. Welcome, Andrea. I'm exhausted already reading that intro.
Thank you, Martina. Thanks for inviting me to the podcast, and congratulations on the success of the podcast so far.
Thank you.
It's great to see Manal taking off.
Yes, and we're delighted to have you. You know, I'm a member of our Manal community and very much part of our diaspora here. So we'll get right into it. So, Andrea, you grew up in Sligo. So talk to us a little bit about, you know, your childhood.
Beautiful County Sligo.
Yes.
I did, yeah. So I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere, about half an hour from Sligo town, half an hour from Ballina. So right in the middle. What's to talk about? We were very fortunate actually, where we grew up about a mile from the beach. So if you look down one side when you walk out our back door at home, we had the beach or the ocean, and then the other side was the mountains. So really just gorgeous place. One of 5 children, lived with their parents obviously. So we had a busy childhood as well with sports and dance, and just it was a very grounded childhood, I suppose. Yeah, we were just very lucky. I feel it was a normal childhood, but what's normal to us isn't normal to everyone.
Right.
You know, so the little things like breakfast every morning, dinner in the evening, like so many kids don't have those. And I will probably talk about it when I talk about my own kids. But I suppose now that I'm getting older, I'm more grateful for those normal things in life.
Right. And I think, you know, I mean, I grew up on a farm as well, Andrea, and when you're, 5, 6, whatever, 10, you think everyone lives on a farm and everyone grows up on a farm, and
yes,
everyone gets the bowl of porridge in the morning.
Right, and
yeah.
they don't, and even,
right.
when you get to secondary school, at least country Ireland, I suppose, you go to the local national school and then you go to secondary school. And that's maybe when you realise everyone doesn't grow up on a farm.
No.
And then some people make fun of you for growing up on a farm, and you're out in the wellies and the cow, the cow dung. But even going to the bog and those type of things, like, I don't know if you had that experience, Martina.
No, I did. Oh no, I did. And I find, as we get older, I think it was very grounding for us.
It was very grounding. Yes. It gave us a good work ethic.
It did.
We knew what the word no meant.
Right.
Which is very important, and I think a lot of kids now don't know that word.
I know. So, grew up on a farm. That's a busy life for sure. Then, tell us, about school. What kind of a student you were? What kind of a student were you?
Oh gosh, what kind of a student was I?
Or did you have a favourite subject?
Obviously I did have a favourite subject,
yes.
which so home economics was my favourite
right.
subject, and I actually loved business as well in secondary school.
Oh.
Another one, math, I didn't hate, but I think it was more the teacher that I loved. If you make an affiliation with a teacher.
Yes.
So I loved my math teacher in secondary school, but definitely home ec was my favourite. I don't know if it was because of the subject or because the classroom. Again, I went to school in Inniscrone, which is a well-known seaside town in County Sligo. And the home ec classroom was looking over the beach. So it was actually gorgeous.
So it was easy to be in that class.
Easy to be in that class. But as regards what type of student, definitely a rule follower for the most part. And I just took things in my stride. You just go with the flow, and it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, that's a good outlook. I'm sure you've carried that along.
I think I have. That's probably why your list was quite long at the start, so maybe that's why I just kind of take the things in the stride and try and do all the things.
Right. So you home economics is your favourite subject in school, and then you went on to train as a home economics teacher.
I did. I went to St Angela's in Sligo, which is kind of under the umbrella of the National University of Galway. So it was home economics and Irish actually. So
you
Gaeilgeoir, yes. Actually taught in a Gael school before I moved here for a year as well.
Okay.
So went to St Angela's for 4 years, made some amazing friends. Very, very tough course. If anyone has done it, I've met a few people since even that have done it. Tough course, but held to very high standards, which also I will say has stood to me. When I moved here, I taught at home for a year, then I moved here. And I did take my MTELs, got my teaching licence, and I taught for 4 years in Hingham Public Schools.
Oh, brilliant.
So it was probably the dream job, I suppose, for me here. Had my own home ec classroom with 5 mini kitchens in the classroom, and just teaching hands-on, learning, it's huge. Kids don't have that, and many kids don't get it at home. So teaching those skills, I think, is so important. And you see many schools cutting the home ec curriculum, and it's devastating actually, because they need those skills, those life skills.
Oh yeah, and you take them with you forever. So you mentioned you're arriving in the US. You have your great job in Hingham, and now you have 4 children. So how is all that going?
4 children. How is that going? So it's going great actually. I love, like, obviously everyone loves their kids. You know, I just love being a mother, not just the 4 kids. And so I suppose, I didn't just come and be a teacher. I did the nanny and I did the waitressing. I did all the things first, and then I eventually got my license. Got my master's over here as well. So I did all that, landed the dream job, had our first daughter, Carly. She just turned 7 in August. So we had Carly, and I went back to work after having her, but it was tough. The maternity leave here is not the same as at home. It's 8 weeks, unpaid, unless you have holiday time to use up, which was crazy. So me being me, I decided I was going to take extra time. So I took, I think it was 12 weeks, and then we had my mom come over, my mother-in-law come over, because I didn't want to leave Carly with a daycare or somebody that we didn't know. Yeah. So, that's kind of the tough thing about living here, I suppose, when you have kids. You don't have family as close by. And, I have aunts that help out, and cousins, and great, amazing friends that all help out. But it's, just, I suppose, not the same as family. Yeah. So I had Carly, went back to work, and then we had our second, Frankie, and I hated going to work and giving my energy to other kids throughout the day, and I'm coming home and I'm tired and I don't have the same energy for my own kids. So we talked about it, and we figured, I'll stay home for a while and see how that looks. Tried to go back part-time, that wasn't an option here. So I've been home ever since, but in essence it opened many more doors for me.
Yeah, it has opened a lot of doors for you. So okay, where are we going to start? Will we start with Bakeology?
Boston Bakeology was the first thing.
Yes. Which I think, and I know you wear other hats, but I think it's probably what you're
maybe known for.
And I would say you have, married that love for business and home ec very well, right?
Right. Okay. So I have Boston Bakeology. It's a cooking company. So I do in-home birthday parties. I've done bachelorette parties. I've travelled to the Cape. I've travelled up to Maine for 40th birthday parties, kids parties, and then at the Irish Cultural Centre, I've also done a little kids camp, and then I teach classes. I was trying to do about once a month, like a public class. Okay. So people would come, sign up. We had up to 30 in our classes. And, we do, I'm trying to think now, kind of Irish themed.
You've catered for Manoa.
I've catered for Manoa. I've catered for the consulate.
I know we've at home with a Christmas cake in our handbags at the Christmas party.
The well-oiled Christmas cake. Some good ingredients in the Christmas cake. So I've catered for a few different things. St. Brendan's Football Club as well. I've catered a lot of things for them. And just different people. So catering is not my passion, I suppose. Teaching is my passion. So I love teaching the classes. And again, it's just passing on the skills. That's what I want to do, and I want people to be able to go home and make these dishes. And I get a texter at least once or twice a week asking me for a recipe. So we just had our 4th child in February, so February 25th.
Oh, congratulations.
So Colin, he's 7 months. So since we had him, I've kind of taken a little step back, I suppose, from Boston Bakeology, just because it's very busy. I still do a little bit, but not as much. And I'm also working on a recipe book with Boston Bakeology.
Oh, brilliant.
So I don't know if you knew that actually.
No, I didn't.
I'm was hoping for it to be out by Christmas, but I think my deadline is, if not Christmas, it will definitely be St. Patrick's Day.
Maybe you'll come back and do a big launch here.
I'll do a big launch. We do a book signing.
At the table.
Yes.
Do a book signing.
So that's kind of in the works at the minute. I just, it's finding time, I suppose, with the kids. So I am hoping to have that out soon, though. And it's just a very basic, the kind of theme of my book is Irish in America. So basic Irish recipes like your lasagna, your shepherd's pie, but from scratch, like good ingredients. Because, again, going back to the upbringing in Sligo, we always had a vegetable patch at the house. I don't know if I call it a vegetable patch, vegetable garden. I'm Americanized.
Yes, You're here too long, Andrea.
I know. Time to go home. And you'd be out picking the potatoes and the carrots. You probably know.
And the rhubarb.
And then you'd be brought up to the grandparents' house to do the same. God, you dread it. But it was, again, when you look back, the ingredients are so hard to get here. You're paying through the roof for organic, and we didn't appreciate it when we had it.
Oh no, and I see that here. I mean, we didn't appreciate it, and I remember my mother baking the bread, and we were there. Oh my God, why can't we just have shop bread? And now I'm killed trying to find farmers markets to get homemade bread.
Martina, you need to come to a class and make your own.
I know, I do. That's okay. That's breaking news. Andrea's book. Dun, dun, dun.
Keep an eye out for it.
We sure will. So, so that's where you are with Bakeology and the book. Well, that's a big undertaking, and it's not a matter of just kind of, you say it. We were talking a little bit before we went on air. You talk about you have this great idea, and then you put it out in the universe, and then
like, why did I do this? But it's well in the works, so it's gonna. Great. If I got a good 8-hour chunk of time, I think we'd have it done.
Brilliant.
And I have an amazing graphic designer helping me with that. I won't share who she is, but she's going to be listed as my co-author.
Okay. Well, we're going to stay tuned, as they say, right, in the media world. Alrighty. So Bakeology, and you want to talk about real estate, or
yes?
So this is a relatively new role for you, right?
Relatively new. Again, it kind of ties in with the business and the home ec
Yes.
part. It was, when I went to college and when I was teaching home ec, it was. We talked about mortgages and houses and what to look for and how to, the upkeep of your house, home economics. So I've always been interested in homes and real estate from when I moved here. So we purchased our own house a few years ago, and I just loved the process, and I educated myself, I suppose, on all the different steps and whatnot. And so then I decided I would take the real estate class and get my license, because it's no load to carry. And I was definitely very much pushed by the realtor that we use for our own house, and she's now my productivity coach, actually, with Keller Williams.
Okay.
Lindsay Ricardo is her name. So she definitely kept on top of me and pushed me once I took the class. I got licensed last year, signed with Keller Williams, and I just had my first closing, have my second under agreement, and have a few more in the works. Brilliant. So it's getting busy, but again, it's very enjoyable. What you put into it, you get out of it. And it also goes back to the education piece. When you have buyers and sellers, they have no idea what the process is, what the steps are, which is why you hire a great realtor. Right. So it's kind of even educating people on the process and what they need to know, and that's just a huge part of real estate. And that comes naturally, the education part comes naturally to you. And I suppose too, with 4 children, I'm sure it gives you some flexibility that you can do the drop off in the morning, be there for the pickups. So it does, and that's why I went into it. Anything that I can have flexibility with, but that I also enjoy, is huge. And even if there's showings, I can bring the kids. It's not a big deal. It's a quick hour, and it also gives me the flexibility. I was teaching and I was gone at 6:30 in the morning, so either dragging them out for daycare, or else at this point now, where my eldest is my 2 oldest are in school, it's the drop off, and I would be missing that drop off. Somebody else would be doing it. Well, I go spend the day with somebody else's kids, and even pick up. You'd be finding it tight to get back for pickup. So it opens, more doors for me career-wise, but also lets me be home with the kids, which is just huge for me, that flexibility, Right. And I hear, my friends that have kids, sometimes those chats you have in the car, before a drop-off or when you pick them up. That's where it happens. And, if I could record some of them, I would, actually. Because they're just priceless. They are priceless and hilarious. And, I always have the 4 kids in the car for the drop off and pick up, and even the conversations among themselves, it's hilarious, especially at the point now the older 2 are in school and comparing notes on what they did in school and whatnot. No, it's great. It's great. And on top of that, then, Andrea, my goodness, our listeners are saying, my goodness, how does she keep going? I know a role that's really important to you is the J1 coordinator with the Irish Pastoral Centre, and the supports you offer to the summer students, and indeed the grads that come here for the year. Yeah, so I was lucky enough, I actually did a class at the Pastoral Centre, just a little fundraiser for them a couple of years ago. Yeah. And then Mary Swanton, the amazing executive director, just asked me, would I be interested in doing the J1 coordinator, because I came initially on a grad myself, the grad visa. And I suppose, over the years you make connections and you get to know a lot of information, the resources. So I started that job. It's part-time, it's remote. I try and go into the office maybe 1 day a week or whenever as needed to meet people. So it initially started for the J1 summer students, just sharing resources with jobs, housing, just if they had a question while they're here, if anything happened, we often get questions about health insurance. What do I do in this scenario? And it's just for them to have somebody to ask and a place to call home. They can pop into the pastoral centre and have a cup of tea, get a bag of potato. It's just that the home feeling, the Irish welcome. And then after doing the J1 summer for the first year, we saw the need for J1 grads. We were getting a lot of inquiries, people coming out in the grad visa. So we kind of extended the programme. We created the J1 Summer Guide first of all, which is also useful for the graduates. So it's on the Irish Pastoral Centre website. Has so much information just about life here. As I said, getting your social security number, the jobs, the housing, but also just what to do in Boston. Because it's just such a great city. Obviously, we're here, we love it. We, I don't know about you, Martina. I came for a year, and here I am, 13 years later, and I have no sign of me to go home.
I can add a few more years onto that, but you
right.
do. I mean, it's such a great city. There's so much opportunity.
Yes.
I mean,
and it's things to do, and so we have that kind of listed, and it's sharing that with the J1 grads, and just the network. It's so different finding a job here for recent grads compared to at home. It's the networking, even things like leaving voicemails. They don't. We don't use that in Ireland, but here I'm not answering the phone if I don't know a number, so. You have to leave the voicemail, have your own voicemail set up, get the networking, meet the people. And actually, I met a couple last week that I've met with you, Martina, so I know you're helping out on the back end with it.
I think we all try and do our bit. We know what it's like, to arrive here and not know a ton of people.
Right, and I think that's probably part of the grow for here is you do arrive and you don't, even I was fortunate, I had two brothers here and my uncles, but you just... Everyone wants to help you and everyone wants to see you succeed, and I think that's huge, and that's part of the love as well for the Irish in Boston.
No, I agree. And then with it, and I think you have a unique perspective because as you said, you came here yourself on a J1, and for somebody that's thinking about coming over on the grad or just for the summer, I mean, if there was one bit of advice you would give them.
Do as much as you possibly can, travel as much and do as much cultural, maybe not cultural isn't the right word, but just do as much as you can in Boston. Like go rent the electric boats, go around Boston Harbour, hop on the ferry to P-Town, jump on the commuter rail to Salem. Do all the things when you're here because there's so much to see and do. Boston is just such a historical city too. Like the public library, so stunning, that building.
Stunning.
But go see those things and do those things.
Immerse yourself. Really
immerse yourself in American culture.
In American culture, okay, yeah. Oh, actually, that's a nice segue. Now, you have four children, American children. And I know your Irish culture and heritage is very important to you. So how do you balance that? You want your children to be American, but you want them to, know about their heritage.
Good question.
I can tell you one place you go on a Sunday.
No, one place I go on a
during
Sunday.
The summer.
We, we're very. My husband is Irish as well. He's from Laois. I'm from Sligo, so we are very immersed. He comes from a big hurling background, and I played GAA growing up. So we are very much immersed in Irish culture. My husband still plays hurling. He cannot let go, which is also great because our kids see it. They go to training with him. Our kids now play with St Brendan's GAA, which is just the best community, and the GAA community in general here. So we're very lucky in that regard. We definitely throw ourselves in that culture. It starts in January. We'll be doing indoor training with the kids, seeing all the Irish parents and Irish American kids, and it goes right up until the end of August. And then this year we travelled to Philadelphia for the US GAA finals, with my husband's hurling team, Father Tom's, and it was just a great experience for the kids because you're seeing kids from all over and families from all over. And next year we'll go to the CYC in Philadelphia. So that's one way. Our daughter then, Carly, does not want much to do with GAA, which is fine. She'll support them. She'll be a cheerleader, but she does Irish dance with Forbes School of Dance in Quincy, and she just had her first 2 feshes recently and did great. So she's definitely thrown herself into that. And I suppose just with school then they get the American perspective.
Okay.
But my son actually, you talk about the conversations coming home, and my son yesterday, Mom, somebody made fun of me for saying the word tree. I said, or the number 3. And I said, what, 3? So, my husband's from Laois, it's kind of the flat Midland accent, and it's their accents, but my daughter got made fun of for the same things when she was in kindergarten, and now she's 2nd grade, so she has more of a little American accent.
A little twang, as we say at home.
And I remember the first time she went, pajamas. we're like, oh my God, she's American.
Yeah, but I mean, it's important too. They are American.
So they are American, and we try and get both cultures.
Yes.
And the 4th of July we absolutely celebrate. Thanksgiving is one of my favourite holidays. I think just because it's focused on the family time, and there's it's not about the presents, it's about spending time together and the time off together, and that's huge for us. And then obviously we try and get back to Ireland with the kids. Spend time with the cousins as much as we can, and we're so lucky now with FaceTime and everything as well.
I mean, we really have. I mean, the best of both worlds.
Yeah. We're in the right city for it too. There's always an Irish meal you can grab. An Irish dinner anywhere. So it's so accessible in that butcher shop in Adams Village, Green Hills Bakery.
The Dubliner.
Right. We do an Irish breakfast actually every Saturday. Or sorry, every Sunday.
Okay. Oh God, when are we coming over?
Come over anytime. Well, our door is open. Come over anytime.
Emma and myself are going to be there next Saturday.
I'll send you the address, no problem.
Oh, stop. No, and the GA, we see it, Andrea, the GA, I mean, it's such a great connector. We see it, with the little ones. We see it, when the GA1s come over, I mean, they do phenomenal work.
It's brilliant. It's so much work, so much time, and it's a handful of people in every club, which, you don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They do bring over the players from Ireland, but then there's the home-based players that are here that are the heart and soul of the clubs. We see it with the kids, it's all run by the parents. I often look at some of them, I said, geez, how do you have time for this? They're at the meetings, they're training, they're there before training, setting up the pitches, ordering the jerseys, registering, insurance, all the things. And I recently started Gaelic for Mothers.
Yes, I want to hear about that. I was chatting to someone last week and I said, I don't want to see you next week if you're going to come back all broken up bones and black eyes. So tell us about that. Sounds so much fun.
I don't think I have any black eyes. But broken up, I'm not sure. I feel like I could have been hit by a car.
So now tell us about the origins of it.
So it's Gaelic for Mothers and Others. I guess it's been going on back home for a few years now. I think even pre-2020. So you have to be over 25. Over 25 and female are the only two criteria, I suppose. And it started up this year. They have been doing it in New York GAA, which is kind of one of the extended counties for the GAA purposes at home. And then we have US GAA, which is all outside. So the Northeast, Boston Northeast is included in that. So they started it this year, just training one night down at Pope John Paul in Dorchester, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, who can make it. Got a great turnout, got the WhatsApp group text going.
And once you get the WhatsApp group, then that's it.
Once you get the WhatsApp group. Be careful if you take a shower and you might miss 40 messages in the WhatsApp group. So kind of the focus was there was a tournament in Philadelphia at Limerick Field, which is their GAA ground, and it was just this past weekend, so Columbus Day weekend. So we played a couple of games against Worcester Fenians. We've been training when you can make it. It's just great it's a social aspect. There's no commitment, which is huge. Make it when you can, and if you can't, that's okay. There are some Wednesdays when I'll bring the kids. They want to come with me, they can bring a ball and play around. A few other moms have kids. And then it goes from, I think the youngest on our team is 28, 29, and the oldest maybe in their 60s, but I don't know because I haven't asked their age. Right. And I will not either. And we went off to Philadelphia for, some people travel Friday. I headed up Saturday morning and I came back Sunday morning. So quick 24-hour trip. Northeast, Boston Northeast won all their games. We won best entrance and we were the best crack.
I know some of those ladies, so I bet.
Yes.
I bet. But isn't it too? I know you talk about the best crack and all that, but it's probably an outlet for women to get together. And I think some of the women, and I was looking at some of the photos. I think some of them are empty nesters. Kids have gone off to college, as you said. You've someone 28 is in the middle of launching their career. So I think it's great to.
It's a great group. It's great, like I said, socially, and then empty nesters, because I think you get to that point. And maybe this is why I try and keep myself so busy. You get to the point of your kids heading off to college, and what's next if you've been a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're full circle again. Where do I go from here? But it's for meeting people. The 29-year-old was definitely chatting about just networking and her job, and where she's going next. Actually, I was chatting to her on Saturday night after the games, and she said, "What a great group of women! We have an attorney, we have stay-at-home moms, we have she mentioned my real estate, my Bakeology." Yeah. Among all the other, and there were nurses, just all women from all different backgrounds, some with kids, some without kids, and everyone brought something different to the table, whether it was Jell-O shots or a recipe. No, I joke. But no, it is just
It
great.
is.
It's an
It
outlet
is.
just to get down, and it's exercise too. I know we played the first game against Worcester Fenians. It was a friendly game. There wasn't too much friendly about it, but I was definitely sore the next day, and it's great.
Good cardio workout
Great.
for sure. Yeah.
You forget the muscles. Like I
Right.
used to play run up, and you forget, God, how fit I used to be, and realise how unfit I am now.
So, will you train through the winter?
So there's talk of a bit of pickleball or an indoor soccer league, and the WhatsApp group is hopping.
Okay, so
with,
you're
with all the
diversifying a
ideas.
little bit.
We're diversifying to keep fit, but we are hoping to actually host the USGA G Gaelic for Mothers and Others, G for MO. We're hoping to host that in Boston next year. I hope it's okay, to say all this.
Yes. Oh, that's great. I hope are they coming to the cultural centre?
So I would assume, because we
assume,
have
which is
such
the home for our listeners. The Irish Cultural Centre is the home of Boston GA.
Right, and the facilities in the cultural centre are just phenomenal compared to some of the other places in USGA history. So we're very lucky that we have those facilities. I was at the CYC there, not 2025, it was 2024, and again, for people that don't know, the CYC is the Continental Youth Championships.
Yes.
And it's like 1,500 Irish American kids. Just the buzz around the place is amazing. And, we have the cultural centre. It's our GAA home, so it's nice
great,
to show it off.
Yeah, I think we might know a few people down there that might get,
That might help us out.
Yeah,
Do we know anyone?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any problem. Well, no, but that's great. I mean, I'm all, Andrea, as you know, I'm all for bringing women together and empowering women, no matter in what games,
Anything
at all. So, Andrea, you are so busy. You genuinely are busy and a lot going on. So then, how do you prioritize or focus on what's important? Because we were chatting earlier, like you could be at an event, you could be at networking events, you could be involved in sports. You can just take on too much, and then how do you say, well, I need to focus on what's really important?
So that's an easy one. It's my kids.
Yeah.
So number one, it's my kids.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I have to prioritize, and that's why I gave up my teaching job to be home with my kids, to be there, to bring them to school, to be there with them during the day. I haven't sent any of my kids to preschool. I wait until kindergarten. Because I said to myself, I gave up my job and I changed careers. I took this different path to be with them. So I do get a babysitter about one day a week. And then, sometimes I will look and I say, okay, I have to step back. So, which is why I mentioned Boston Bacology. I haven't been doing as much. It was just taking up, a little bit too much time outside my house. So the real estate, I can do a lot of at home where it's flexible. I'm also lucky. My husband is amazing. He's hands-on with our kids. If he is, if I can't make
shout out,
right, no, he
is.
I couldn't do all this without him. Like I said, we get a babysitter about one day a week. That's it. I have to kind of decide as well. I'm there with the kids during the week, so if I have to miss soccer on a Saturday morning, I'm okay with that. But knowing that Fran will be there with the kids, which is huge for me. That one of us are at the events or at the things. And people say to him, God, you're great with 4 kids. His response is, they're my kids. He is the patience with them, and he is. I can walk out. I see some.
they're not rented.
They're not rented, right? I see some moms. They're getting the dinner ready before they go out, and he just does all that as well. So I'm lucky.
It's great.
We make it work between us, and that's the priority. Is that one of us is always there. Usually me, but also he supports everything I do. He has patience not just with the kids, but with me and my crazy ideas.
Andrea, the holidays are just around the corner. Thanksgiving, and I love that holiday too because it's all about cooking and food and being together, and then Christmas. Now I want you to put on your home economics, your teaching hat, and we hear all the time people they get so overwhelmed in the kitchen. My God, they're banging pots. Yeah. No one can get into the kitchen. How can you simplify it or?
Great question, but also probably an easy question. Don't overthink it. We overthink so much. I suppose a week before, sit down, plan your menu, but also tell people what they can bring. Like if you're having people over, they ask, what can we bring? Let them bring a dessert. Let them bring a side dish. They want to make something. They want to help. The other thing I would say is whatever you can do in advance, do in advance. So one of my favorite recipes is it's a French toast casserole. And it's my Christmas morning breakfast. It's been my go-to for the last few years because you make it ahead, let it sit in the fridge overnight, bake it in the oven. So, in the morning we get up, Santa has arrived and all the things. It's busy with the kids. I turn on the oven as soon as I hear the preheat, pop in the breakfast casserole, and it's ready in 45 minutes, and we are ready to sit down and eat. It's an easy one. And then anything that's, I suppose, hands off, if you can do any sheet pan dinners, sheet pan vegetables, green bean casseroles, they're all pretty easy. Throw them in a pan, put them in the oven, forget about them. Also, if you're making a soup, just use the prepared vegetables, like the Trader Joe's had the Mary Pois, like it's celery, onion and carrot. Use those things. They're already pre-made, pre-cut butternut squash, roasted butternut squash with a bit of rosemary and maple syrup. Throw it over it and in the oven, away you go. Same with some roast potatoes, baby roast potatoes. Open the bag, throw them on a sheet pan. They're just great sides. So anything that you can do that's easy ahead of time. Also, let other people in your house help. Let the kids in the kitchen. It doesn't matter if they do create the mess, just embrace the mess. But let them help with the peeling, let them help with the mixing. They love it. When you're sitting down to dinner, they will say they helped with it and they will be so proud of themselves. And I suppose for anyone with older kids, those empty nesters, your kids are home from college, you're probably paying for college for them, let them help out as well and take off your plate what they can. So give them a dish to do, give them an hour in the kitchen, say what can you make in an hour, and give them a week's notice so they know what they're doing. But it's, again, another dish you don't have to do.
Okay, so I guess not to overthink it. And I was thinking even of the pre-prepared veg at the store. I was like, God, is that kind of cheating? But
cheat.
No.
That's the big thing. Cheat if you have to. It's for a big meal or a big holiday like this. Actually, in the everyday, I wouldn't cheat as much. It's the big holidays.
But the big holidays, like
you
if you're
can
cooking
cheat.
for 20 or 25 people.
Yes. And bake things in advance. Like you can freeze things. You can make the mince pies now and freeze them for Christmas, or make a few extra loaves of brown bread, put them in the freezer. And they still taste fine. Nobody knows the difference.
Okay.
Don't tell anyone that.
No, we won't.
She says that she's been recorded.
And then we hear, I don't know, do you hear this a lot? But I hear some of my friends say, "Oh, I can't. I can cook. Do a roast or make soups, but I can't bake." So is that a little bit of a myth?
It's an absolute myth.
Baking
Tell us. Is simply following a recipe. Again, whenever my recipe book comes out, it will have. Well, it has the basics. Yeah. But it's funny in my classes. One of the ones I did that I thought, I suppose, was quiche. Again, it's not necessarily baking, but it is the same pie crust as an apple pie. And I had one table, so I set my classes up. I've groups of 6 or 7 in each group, and it was a group of younger women that all used frozen pastry. I was like, God, this is too much work. But when they were eating that quiche at the end, the response was, this is 100% worth it.
One of my favourite questions, Andrea, to ask who's in that chair.
Oh gosh.
Is, when you hear the word mana, what does that mean to you, and what do you think?
I mean, what it means, woman.
Yes, but
no, I know, right? That's, I suppose, supporting one another and uplifting one another. I am very fortunate, and have always been very fortunate to be surrounded by just great women in my life. Whether it was like my mom, my grandmother, just the support and love that a woman can give is like no other. And then for me personally, just being a mother, being able to be a mother, I suppose. Just I'm in awe of a woman's body as well, and everything that it can do. Like carrying my 4 children, nursing them until they were on spoon feeds beyond. Just what a woman's body can do, I suppose, is for me a big
and women are too. And are resilient.
The uplift and support that we show each other. Gosh, that's a tough question, Martina. But that's okay.
But I always think of, as you say, uplifting, other women, and being, I suppose you think back to our heritage and roots, being, resilient and having that grit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is definitely the grit.
And of course, I don't, being a mom, it's, and giving birth to children, and it's.
Yeah, no. And I am, I'm very lucky that I have experienced that 4 times. I know many people, would pay to be in my position with 4 kids. And so, just I'm in awe of a woman's body and all that women do in general, whether it's cooking or working outside the home and I suppose being able to do both, like 50 years ago, it was frowned upon for women to be outside the home, and it was men didn't change a diaper. And I think,
right,
I don't want to bring men back into this, but I think we have to give them credit. I already talked about my husband and how fortunate I am, and I see the older generation through my work as well at the Irish Pastoral Centre. Some of the older ladies see my husband, like we'll kind of meet at work, like he'll take the kids when I go in or whatever. God, my husband would have never done that, is kind of the comment. I said, well, did you ever ask him to?
Right.
So I think that we're lucky that men also support what we do now, but that we have fought for it, and we can go out and work, and we can have a career, and we can be home.
Well, I think for us to continue to be successful, I mean, we do need the men to support us and raise us up.
We do, and we can raise them up as well. It works both ways.
Right. Yeah, we're in it together, right?
We are, exactly. We wouldn't be here without each other.
No, very true, very true. Well, Andrea, this has absolutely been fantastic. Loved hearing about your, days growing up in Sligo on the farm, and then of course all that you are doing here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I wish every success with the rest of the podcast. And in general, it's great to see it taking off, and it's getting stronger and stronger. The walks and all the different events. So.
And thank you, and we'll stay tuned for that book in the new year.
Yes, definitely. I'll keep you posted.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Martina.
Thanks a million, Andrea.